Hello? Is anyone there? Is there anybody there? Anybody there? Hello? I'm gonna put this in.
Kromah, can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, I'm wondering. I've been calling. Who's there? Anybody there? Anybody there?
Yes, I'm sorry. We had a late technical problem. I think everyone is listening. I just introduced the program, so go ahead and introduce yourself again, Kromah. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Well, it is a big, pleasing pleasure for me. My name is Colonel Abraham S. Kromah, and I'm the I'm glad to be your guest tonight. I do not have a particular topic, and I basically will address whatever you have, because this is not my first time appearing on this show. Whatever it is that you need some clarity, need some clarification, basically for where we are, and I can also discuss the agenda for Trump.
Yes, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you on, as we always do over here, and it tells us that you are truly a public servant. Whenever Liberians in the diaspora want to hear from you, you have always going to try to make yourself available to talk to those in the diaspora. And again, ladies and gentlemen, my name is D. Flamont II. I'm the host of Liberia Destiny Debaters. With us tonight is Colonel Abraham S. Kromah, Deputy Director for Operations of the Liberia National Police. Colonel Kromah is joining us from Liberia tonight. Please dial *61. Colonel Kromah, I'm going to go ahead and open the line here for questions. So go ahead and dial *61 if you want to be a part of this show. Colonel Kromah, I will take you to a report from let me take it up from our end. There's a report from Transparency International. Current reports stating that the Liberia National Police is, in fact, the most corrupt organization in Liberia. What do you have to say about that report?
Well, a couple of days ago, I had the opportunity to call into a program. Actually, I was called by the moderator regarding this transparency report that is basically headed by a friend of mine here. I mean, the local branch is headed by a classmate of mine who graduated together, Thomas Nadeau. Basically, my contribution to that was that the report basically was a result of some research, and I had a series of problems with the research. But the basic concept, the basic notation put up by the report was something that I thought probably they met us in the middle of our own game. What do I mean by that? We had started, when we first started in the Liberia National Police, we put up a paper called the Agenda for Transformation in the Liberia National Police, and the way forward. That transformation, that agenda had two attempts agenda. One was first to reduce the crime rate, because when we took over, the crime rate was very high. We had armed robbery all around the place. We had violent crime, people being victimized at all levels. And so a paper directly speaking to the reduction of crime was put up. And we also put out the second agenda item was the responsibility and accountability with the focus on police misconduct. That was the second item on the agenda for transformation within the Liberia National Police. And that paper has been studied. The director has gone through, he has his own contribution. So it's something that we decided to use as a roadmap as to how we can foster, how we can contribute to the broader national agenda for transformation. And so when the report came out, we basically on our first leg, that is to reduce crime rate. We've done that to a certain extent. Armed robbery has been brought down to, crime as a whole has been brought down to a very serious, considerable level. Violent crime as well, and all of the index crime we have here, we've gone through using methodology, using tactics that Liberians can attest to. That we've done successfully. Even though while doing that, we still had to slow down a bit because there were prison breaks all around the place. And so because there were prison breaks, we had to stop, go back to some of our tactics to arrest those prisoners and do some other stuff, put them back, avoiding recidivism, and going back, forging ahead with our plans. And that was done. And during the process of the first agenda, which was to reduce crime, we had the issue of, we created several operational plans. The Operation Safe Haven, I know you guys heard of Operation Safe Haven. We also contributed immensely in the driver's seat Operation Restore Hope. That has to do with the issues that were going on in the southeast with regards to the cross-border attacks that we experienced, one of which contributed to the death of 7 UN peacekeepers in Ivory Coast. Our contribution to that was well felt, and we have a couple of guys who've been arrested right now that are going through the trial in Monrovia. So that was and we also have the issue of the lawlessness that students are having here, going to beaches and carrying all sort of crime. And we went through that, and we also created another one called Operation Safe Haven Reload, where we started to deal with street crimes and traffic violations at all levels. People are still using those vehicles they were using during the war without brakes and without tail lights. We managed to reduce all of that. We have a couple of them stay around where there have been some very serious accidents along the way because guys are still carrying vehicles without reflectors, and when the car breaks down, they just leave it right there to put all kinds of stuff on the wayside. We have begun to actually give them more tickets than necessary, so as to serve as some deterrence, just to put us some deterrence principle. So those are some of the agenda items we had in our first. Those are some of the items in our first agenda. And then the second agenda was to address responsibility and accountability in the LNP with police misconduct as a focus. And so when the report came, we had already started with our second item on the agenda for transformation in the LNP. So they were like belated. I'm not saying yes or no as to what the report is saying. First and foremost, I have an issue with, and that issue is not just A.B. Kromah. There have been series of other intellectuals, series of other scholars, series of other stakeholders who have expressed their problem with regards to the sample that actually the research took over. Out of 3.5 million, 3.6 million people, you had 1,000 selected to actually go on this particular research. That's number one. The sample size will come out very low for me as far as to come up with such a generalization, to take such a very little sample. I had issue with that. And the second part was the test question, to say how corrupt is your country, how corrupt is this unit, how corrupt is that. I thought that was just too directing. Number one. Number two, number three, the whole question, the whole result of the hypothesis and the result of what was gathered, for me was a perceptual issue. If you say somebody has perception, of course, there's a little vast difference between perception and reality. I can tell you when you give me a question like that, I will give you my perception differently. There are a lot of people who basically up to this point are still catching up with regards to the real function of the police, owing to the fact that we've come from a very devastating civil war. And besides that, previous police structure, police organization, police administration, the issue of police-community relations was not developed. So the police, there are still people within our society who are still harboring that whole resentment with regards to the function of police. So the issue of police community was not developed to the point where it will have some reflection on how people interact with the police. We've begun under the massacre, we began to actually soften or slow down those particular arrangements. So as a result, there is some degree of openness beginning to open up for the public. And we are about to even start a community situation like police are like the league, where the police will not be seen as just going to community to arrest. We are now being seen as going to community to do after-school programs, doing football games, doing some other stuff that will actually promote those relationships. So those are things that are picking up, and those are some of the reasons, if at all, that population, the population that was considered that I report, if that consideration is any contributing factor, you will look at it from that point. But I still think that the direction of the question, the population size, and the way in which the respondent was actually asked, all of those things for me gave me reason to have serious qualms with regards to the whole research. But that aside, the whole research aside, the Liberia National Police were preemptive. We had this planned agenda for transformation regarding our department and regarding our ability to reduce crime long before this particular transparency report came up. So it is for me, take for instance, if all of those questions, if that research considered enough population and enough size, and the question was directed professionally or differently, we will still be ahead of the curve because we are fighting the second form of our agenda that is now focusing on responsibility and accountability with police misconduct as a focus. So we are a little bit ahead of Mr. Nad and his group, far away from them. And basically that's what we stand with regards to the so-called transparency report. No, I didn't take up much of that time.
Thank you, Honorable Abraham S. Kromah, Deputy Director for Operations of the Liberia National Police. And ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Kromah, we're going to take our first call. Our first call is going to come from caller 7786. Your name and where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Dr. Kula calling from Atlanta, Georgia.
Pleasure to have you on, Doctor.
Thank you. Colonel Kromah, I just read where your Director Masakwa made a comment at the graduation of the police officers that if you and the striker can't do your work, she will recommend that you guys get fired. Any police officer that's doing any bribery, he'll recommend that they get fired, and so on and so forth. My question to you is this. Other than threatening to fire police officers, what sort of incentives can you guys give these police officers so that they don't have to ask for bribe? Because sadly enough, I was in Liberia, and during the day you see these guys all crowded up, not too far from the Capitol building and the police station right down there, all crowded up, stopping vehicle after vehicle, asking them for money, and then you let them go. At night, the same thing. They set up these little barrels. They stop you, oh, man, what you got for me, and so on and so forth. We've got to give the police officers more dignity than that. You know, we have to find a way that, you know, they don't have to be begging. Maybe perhaps, these are just suggestions, you know, brainstorm. Maybe perhaps you could contact different businesses and say, look, let police officers' kids or the police officers themselves have a certain % discount of goods that they buy. Let them be able to get maybe a lunch at a certain restaurant every day, go there for lunch at a certain discount or for free. Let them get some water while they're standing under the sun. Give them some dignity. Let them have some sort of motorbike or cars where they don't have to stop a vehicle and then get in the damn vehicle to take him to the police station or whatever. Give these people some dignity. You know, they're begging because what? They got to supplement their income. They got to make sure their family is fed. They got to make sure they can take transport to go to work. Y'all need to do better than that, man, because honestly, it reflects on me. When I come to Liberia and I bring my friends, it reflects on me if my country looks like a joke, if my police officers look like a joke. I was embarrassed. I took a psychiatrist from here over there, she had a white husband, and that's what they saw. Y'all need to do better, my brother. Thank you.
Thank you,
Doctor. That's a cool art. That's a cool art. And again, it's nice talking to you. And I understand where you're coming from. I understand your frustration. And that's one of the reasons why our own agenda is now focused on the issue of police misconduct, police responsibility. But with regards to the compensation, with regards to, and then going back to the first laughable and woeful comment you made reference to, that is a comment coming from a very frustrated the police director, and everybody understands that there are ways and means in which those kind of issues are handled. However, I think the issue of corruption, the issue of police misconduct, is something that has become a departmental fight right now. The guys that you see standing around in around the Capitol bypass there, those guys, there was a traffic situation that we were collecting you guys who are driving without document. There are guys who are driving now without license plates. I'm sure you saw some when you came to Liberia without license plates. Guys driving without driver license. A couple of months ago, that was the issue. Now we started arresting those guys through those zero stop and search situations. But considering the issue of accountability and responsibility, of late we've fired a couple of police officers. We've arrested a couple of police officers that misbehaving, conducting themselves differently, and that is an ongoing process now. The director have just put up the vast squad be looking after police officers who basically are in the habit of harassing or begging, like you said, people. We're going after them on a regular basis now. So I'm saying to you that it is not within. I joined the police force when I was 18 years old. I didn't join the police force because I came there to actually get money from anybody. I joined the police force because I love the profession. I love to contribute towards to help the weak against the strong, to bring about stability, and basically contribute to the welfare of our citizens. Those are some of the basic tenets that drove me to this job. And at the end of the day, I did it without begging anybody for anything, because I didn't join it because of lack of fund. The little fund that was given to me, I took that into consideration. I realized that's how limited it was, and I was dead. And at the end of the day, I survived it. It took me through college. I graduated from the university. I was promoted to the rank of a captain, and I stayed there during the interim period. I was appointed base commander of intelligence. I became deputy director of police for CID affairs. And I came to the States. I did graduate studies, graduate work, and I came back. I was appointed deputy director. They're far from me. The profession that we have that you speak of, that's how it is. It calls for. It's not called. It's not one of the lucrative situations. It's a profession that you have to understand why you are in it. What are you doing in it? I think people should understand that it is a chosen profession. If you cannot live according to what it is at this point, people will have to understand that, decide as to whether to remain there with the limited resources. Because what we are doing as police administrator, we are begging and fostering all of our muscle to see, under Director Massacre, to see that police can have more money, more pay, based upon where we stand at this point. But to start creating those things that you speak of, then we now becoming subjected and subservient to people who businesses are contributing to this process. I think, with all due respect to you, that would be the wrong way. The thing we're doing, people should understand the profession they're in, and that the government also, government is cognizant of all of these things. Everything, the president just added $25 across the board to the police. It might not be much, but that's what the budgetary allotment can allow for right now, and that's what we have advised everybody to be content with while we fight for more. I want to see the policemen, patrolmen make $250 at least during my time. That's what I want to see, and that was the dream. During the door arrangement, we had police up to a certain level at that point. So we are fighting, fostering. Director Massacre is working hard to actually get that level. And basically, I think that's where I will go, and that's how we've been pushing. I'm aware the responsibility and the tax and all of the tax that police officers are having at this point. Police is difficult for everybody, but that's what this profession is not for. This profession is not for you to use your situation and go to harass citizens on the street. Now, just a couple of days ago, we arrested a guy who was trying to bribe a police officer $140. He was arrested. He's not in the criminal justice system. He's going to be prosecuted. We've arrested a couple of police officers who are bent on carrying on exactly what you put there. They're going to be facing the professional standard division. So we gradually working to establish that sense of accountability and responsibility. That is gradual, because the issue of evaluation is not a one-day process. We met this batch of police officers you have here. We dismissed some of them. We suspended some. We've also promoted some. Some life has become better based upon the promotion they had because they performed towards those promotions. And there are still bad guys in the police force. There's still bad guys in the army. There's still bad guys in the lawyer field. There's still bad guys in nursing. So we are doing our part as administrators. I understand you think you're embarrassed. Yes, that's fine. That's something that is not something that we like. But gradually, this police force will be better. Gradually, there will be accountability and responsibility. I can assure you, might not be doing my days, but all of us are putting up the little academic stuff we did in America and in the other part of the world. We are adding it up to where we are right now so that we can make this place a better place to live. And that is the place that some of us are taking. Some of us left our lives in America to come down to help. And it's not going to be just automatic. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a gradual, painstaking process for us to put it to, it might not be the Philadelphia style, it might not be the NYPD, it might not be the Newark, it might not be any of those styles you found there. But we are gradually coming towards an acceptable standard that will reflect who we are as a people. Because, you see, the police force, for me, is the microcosm of the larger society. The fact that you see the society to where it is, we're fighting hard to make it acceptable as a professional organization. And that's a pledge that some of us have.
Thank you, Colonel Ibrahim S. Kromah, Deputy Director of the Liberia National Police. Colonel Dr. Poulat, do you have a final recommendation from your end? Because we have a lot of people on the line.
Yeah, well, the only follow-up is he talked about the $250 increment. I mean, I'm just thinking, you guys can't come up with any incentives for these guys. I mean, there's so much discrepancy where you got some of these government officials getting 2,000 gallons of gas a month, making $10,000 a month. I mean, there's got to be some incentives y'all can give these people. That's the follow-up.
Thank you.
Well, to be honest with you, that is a department. I mean, that is a government policy. That policy cannot come from Director Massacre, neither can it be from Director Kromah or Director Stryker. That is something that that policy has to, not even from the president, it has to come from the government as a whole. That means the legislature and everybody will have to be part and parcel of such arrangement. And that's an arrangement I hope to see one day that people will say, well, let's make this adjustment or come under the police force. What we've managed to do, and which is a good news, we managed to draw the attention of the national legislature. We managed to draw the attention of the government to the contribution, because there are guys who are coming out from the legislature. They're saying, look, I want this amount of people. I don't have people in my district. The policeman in my district is not dressed properly. The policeman is doing this, doing that. So they've all realized we've gone there and defended our budget to tell and then explain to them that, look, this is where we are. What can you do to correct this process? This is not by design. This is what is existing right now. They've all now agreed to contribute immensely towards the livelihood of these guys. That for me is a good news. They now their minds have been directed. Previously, we want to defend the budget. The last time around, it was a national. It was an approach that basically, well, like, you know what, you're trying to manage what you got. Right, because we don't make resources. We're now also trying to generate our own resources by having tow trucks, by having other situations that will help to build our own capacity. We're doing that. The police force, as it is now, we have enough capacity building process here. We have people trained in Botswana, people trained in America, people trained in London, people trained in France. We have one of the best capacity police organization right now in our neighborhood here. All we do not have is the willpower that is gradually been developed by the power that be, that is actually the century where we stand as an organization. And I think we're making progress. And that your observations are all legitimate. And I think it will come. It will come through time. There will be this governmental, this societal approach towards law enforcement, and I can see it in the very, very near future.
Thank you, Colonel Kromah. Colonel, we're going to take the next one. The next one is going to come from line 2. That will be 1347. Colonel, your name and where you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Saduklet calling from New York.
It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Colonel Kromah, for taking time to address some issue of national concern. Having said that, Colonel Kromah, you are one of the versatile police officers who have got a lot of trainings and come around, and you have seen how it is. I don't know whether you guys have considered this policing in a way where we can have a mobile police force, that the police force of Liberia need to be such an effective police force based on the fact that we have had 14 years of civil crisis, where people's mind doesn't see police as their friend, only as enemy or criminal or you name them. And the fact of the matter, people seeing police standing in the street constantly begging, justify their doubt. Having said that, what are you guys doing to reduce the police force into a sizable force that would be where that the government can finance and support, so that they can be having mobile, motorbike, and the material or the logistics needed for them to get to the crime scene as soon as possible within the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes as maximum, or see police patrolling constantly on motorbike in your community, whatsoever you are thinking on, you know that, you can do it because these guys will get to me as soon as possible. Or you can also, a good and decent community should also be able to look at police as their friends. What are you guys thinking in that direction to do? And if you got to do that, how do you going to do that? And then my next question is also, is it possible that presently in Liberia, we've been reading about government officials who do things maybe a little bit extra out of their own way. Take, for example, the mayor of Monrovia. She make pregnant women to pump tire. Is there any police availability that police can bring such person to be arrested and take to the court of law? Honorable, that's my question.
Sir, you know what? I with all due respect to you, the question regarding pregnant women pump tires, you just and this is the problem we have in Liberia. And you know what? I had the same problem in the States. People just like we're in the Liberian community. We're like gossip. We just take information. One person says something, we do not authenticate it. We just take it and make it a holy Bible. That is the problem. You did not understand. You did not see that. You did not see the mayor carry on something like that. You heard it. You took it. All those that spread that information, they cannot come and authenticate it. And basically they take it now as reality and then they run with it. Now, mayor situation, if I have a complaint that this person, this government official did it, we will arrest that. I had a situation, the same interaction with the mayor the last time around when there was this allegation of somebody hitting somebody. The situation came, and I was personally involved in that. And I requested for the person to file a complaint for them to go to court. We have a court system. We have an adversarial system in our country where you are innocent until proven guilty. That process, you have to go and face the court law. You have to be adjudicated. I introduce you as an introduction in the criminal justice system, and then you go to court, you are adjudicated, then you go to correction. That's how our system works. Follow the same common law approach you have in America. So for people now to be making all of these outlandish accusations without verification, it is mind-boggling, and I think it should not hold in our civilized world at this point. That's number one. That's part of it. The issue of where we stand as a police organization regarding these things, I've told you, I said it in our first disposition that we now in our second phase, and prior to that, we took this community police approach. When I had to lead 150th Armed ERU told the border to address the issue of the insurgent of the cross-border attack. We did not fire one single bullet. We used community policing. We engaged the community, the town chief, the clan chief, the quarter chief, the palmer chief. All of those are the people that we use as a conduit to address the issue of the instability you have there. And most of the arrests were done. Almost all the arrests were done through the participation of the community. They said this person was there, this person did it, and those people came to Monrovia, and now they are facing the court, the judicial process now. So for us to now come to say, and I agree with you, well, we have to do more as far as community policing. This is the reason why we now, besides that community interaction, I was going to another meeting today in Totota based upon the fracas that happened, so we can address the community and reassure them of the police willingness to work with them. That was canceled because of the court process that is going on. We've gone to several communities: West Point, Clariton, Grand Jide, Bon County. We're going to Nima County. We're going all around having community meetings. There's this community-wide team established in those counties that are engaging the community. And we're now developing a paper to actually carry on the police elected lead that will see the police engage in the community without even carrying on a law enforcement action. We now have bosses taking case from community, for urban community, taking them to a football game and establishing other contact with them without even carrying on any kind of police action. Those are all the items that have been agenda by Mr. Massacre, so as to move the police from that us against them posture, to a posture of collaboration, of engagement. And that's something we have going. And that is part and parcel of the second item on our agenda for transformation in the LMP. And you know, there'll be a lot of folks out there, and we're not going to run the police force in the press. People will come out here. You're not in Monrovia, my brother. If you're here and you see the garbage that come out of people here because they buy $2 call card, phone card, and then they just peel it out, it's unbelievable. But that is the democratic precept that has been developed by Madame Salih. We are enjoying it to the fullest here, even to the displeasure of some of us. But that's the country we have at this point, under the watchful eyes of Madame Salih, allowing people to express themselves. And there have been garbages. There have been a lot of things still out. People still calling. People still doing a lot of things, and that's the country we have at this point. So we now have an open arrangement, and we will continue to engage the community at that level. And that is the agenda, and that is the posture that our director has put up, and we all listen to.
Brother, what is your recommendation for the honorable man?
Yeah, honorable man, thank you for addressing that issue, but with all due respect, these are the issue that we read in paper, and if the lawmaker cannot come out to back herself, definitely we hold it as it is. But whatsoever you said, we will believe that and we take that as it is. And then my recommendation would be, is there anything that the police can do so that they themselves will be safe, how can I say, be able to generate funds? Like you were mentioning things like tow truck and all those things. Police need to come out with their own revenue that will help to bolster their own force. So I think that would be the recommendation I can make. They should think about it, craft out things where they will be able to make their own little revenue. Yeah, thank you.
And thank you very much. And basically, that's what we're working on right now. We become of our own revenue-generating institution. Like I said previously, we have impounding ground now. We have tow trucks. We will be issuing tickets. We'll be doing some other stuff that will actually help to bring about some income-generating culture for us as a people. But I can tell you, my brother, don't listen and don't believe everything you read in the papers in Liberia. Don't listen to everything you hear on the radio, because people will pay people to make some pronouncement that, trust me, will come from the left field. It has no basis and no bearing, but that's what they will spill out. There was a letter. There was a headline the other day here on me that and mind you, I was a senior AB commander that went to Buchanan doing the PUL program, and I was showered with all kind of praises by the press union of Liberia. That I was the best friend of the press, and I was the friend of the press, and I've always been friend of the press because I'm a former journalist student, so I do understand what it is. But then after all of that showering and all the commendation, there was a disagreement that one journalist had here with one of my deputies because I did not address that particular complaint there and then. And I said I was having a press conference. Call me back. I will talk to you about your qualms you have with my deputy. Because I was not prompt in doing that, he put up a front line page. AB Kromah, 13 journalists, and blah, blah, all kinds of headline was there on the People's Department. 13 journalists. Because I did not contribute, I did not respond to his complaint of a threat from one of my deputies. As a result, he fell short of expectation because the guys he wrote, most of the guys in the press union laughed at him because he embellished the situation as it was, but I refused to answer. Some guys from the press came back with their own reaction towards him because they felt that he was not being fair. And he used his personal disagreement and the personal feeling, and it thought sensationalism would help. It doesn't. At this point in time, I'm immune to those kind of remarks. So do not listen to everything you read in the press here, and do not believe it, and do not also believe everything you hear, because there are people who will call on the radio who are not journalists who will be making these comments without any basis that has any iota of truth. So at the end of the day, you hear those kind of things, you just believe it, and then you come to spill it out again, you come to repeat it, then you become just like them. That's the only advice I get for you. With regards to your recommendation, we're doing our best to see if we can get tow trucks and other things so as to compensate for some of the difficulties we have.
Kromah, we're going to take our next call. The next call is going to come from line 4. That will be caller 3486. Your name and where you're calling from?
From Linden, New Jersey.
Go ahead, caller.
From Linden, New Jersey.
Yes, what is your name again?
My name is Fatima Sharif Kromah.
It's a pleasure to have you on, my sister.
That would be fun. Go ahead, man. What's up? How's my kid?
First of all, Honorable Director, I would like to say thank you for a job well done in the Liberia National Police. I've seen firsthand the good job the National Police is doing in Monrovia. With all that said, I still think that improvements can be made, especially in the areas of education. I actually went to a conference in Springfield, Maryland, and I saw some police officers who said they were sent from Liberia to come for training, so I think that was good. But on the other hand, I still think police salaries need to be increased, and you've rightfully said that those are things that the legislature should consider. I think if the police officers are well paid and their salaries or they have increment in benefits, I think there will be a lot of good that will be done in the country. I watched, and also the mindset of the Liberian people need to change. I recently visited Liberia, and I actually saw a female jump out her car and jump a police officer to fight. Where in the world is that done? You know, I think the mindset of the people need to be rehabilitated to understand the rule of law and to respect the uniform, the people in uniform. And so I think if the police actually respect themselves sometimes too, by not taking bribes, not, asking people for monies, I think things will change. The Liberian people need to know that these people are there to enforce the law, to do good for the common good for all of the people. So, Mr. Director, I would like to say thank you for the job that you're doing. I've seen it firsthand.
Just before you go, and before I speak to the audience, I'd like to make a caveat and a proviso that we have that was Madam Kromah, and I wanted to find out whether you do how are the children?
They are really good. They are fine. They're all here. They're all fasting. Anyway, this is our holy month of Ramadan, so they're all fasting. They're here, and they're excited to hear Daddy on the telephone. So they're all sitting here listening.
Thank you very much, and I'd say to kiss everybody for me, and tell them to continue to fast, and we take it from there.
Thank you.
But no, regarding your qualms, and I think Liberia, we are making progress, and Liberia is getting better on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Where we are right now, and when I came in a year ago, we were not here. We were far from where we are right now. And all of that goes to the far-sighted of Madame Sally, her ability to progressively transform the mindset of the people and their ability to actually be law-abiding and to actually reassure them to the rule of law. And then her ability also to wanting to make to provide the avenue for justice. Access to justice has been her major point because the issue of mob violence has reduced tremendously because the access to justice has been paid, and people now can find their way to the police and to the court system. And that is a very big progress that has been made. But on the overall, the people are traumatized. There is still a need for intervention, psychotherapy. That intervention has to several communities we have to go through that. And if you find out certain time people have to go through there has to be some metamorphosis. Basically getting people recreated and reorientated to understanding that the rule of law is the best way to go. The violence and taking laws in your hand would not take anybody anywhere because I'm not going to accept that. And the automatic has given that very mandate that doing something like that, you'd be doing at a detriment, at your own detriment. So people are becoming to understand that because that cannot be achieved through violence. You can't get to the people's mind who are traumatized, who are set to certain method, certain approach. Because after all of these wars, people stay thinking that that's the best way to settle it. When somebody does something, you go ahead and pay right back. Instead of going through the legal system, like the lady you made mention of, Kromah, the problem is those kind of people I like to punish. Once you come and leave the confine of your privacy and hit on the police officer, you will pay dearly. And I've ensured a couple of people who are now reformed. They are now refined to understanding that the police officer is just a peace officer and he's doing a piece of job. If you touch the policeman's uniform in an aggressive manner, you will go to jail. I will make sure I punish you. There's a guy that came from the States that basically our story, I'm not even going to repeat that on this particular program, but we all gotten the lessons that we should get. So, and I appreciate your commendation of what we have in Liberia. What we hope to do, our is just to contribute towards the reconstruction program that the Madame has initiated. We now presently focus on the July 26th. She's in the Buffalo area. I just calling you from around there. And so from Buffalo, we'll be going to Bombing. Bombing will be coming, and we're going to Kromah. So basically, there's a big celebration going on right now for the July 26th. And that's what we're doing right now. And like I said, our country is getting better. It's not going to be the Masonic democracy that we have, but we are approaching a process where we will find a country that reflects the aspiration of our founding fathers, that reflect the aspiration of of who we are. We are the country that signed the League of Nations paperwork. We have to create the African, the OAU, that is not the African Union. We have to create the ECOWAS Union, Monroe Union. We are the torchbearer of decency in Africa and in West Africa and in the world. So we are still that country, and we're getting the better gradually with the roadmap that has been set by our president. And I think I'm very proud and very happy to be part of that reconstruction process.
Thank you, Colonel Kromah. Colonel Kromah, we're going to take the next one. The next one is going to come from line 6. That will be 4380. Your name and where you're calling from.
Good afternoon. Mr. Moderator, thank you. I'm William Ponder from Boston, Massachusetts. I would like to thank...
it is wonderful to have you on, William.
Thank you. I would like to say thanks to A.B. Kromah after so many years. Thank you for the service to our country. And I'm proud of the work you guys are doing. I have some issues to discuss in respect of public education in terms of public awareness regarding public safety. We hear about the pimping industry, the commercial motorcycle industry. This industry is something new for Liberia. We read and hear about it in countries in the Far East and in some parts of Africa. But it's new relatively speaking, based on our history. And we've heard about the fatalities in that industry. We've heard about the disorganization and the lack of rule of law and understanding of what public safety should be all about. And a lot of innocent lives have been lost. I think I would like for you to address it because I'm one of those who have been working with an NGO trying to see if we can work with government to put in place public safety measures. In countries like Rwanda, where they have done some immeasurable contributions and development in the field of commercial motorcyclist industry, they've lowered the fatalities by providing, proper gear, headgear, and safety mechanisms put in place to protect both the driver of the motorcycle and his occupant. So I would like for you to address that. I would also like to touch on the issue of incentives. I think what you could recommend to the legislature is that to split the incentives given to police officers between a general incentive and a second-tier incentive which would tie performance to incentives. So police officers that are not involved in corruption, open it where the public can come in with reports, complaints. There should be an open, transparent process where the public, if someone has a barge and he asks me for money in Liberia, there should be a place where I can go if I refuse to pay that money and give a complaint. People who don't, those officers after a year of fiscal period where they don't have complaint and review period, those are the kind of officers should be given promotions, given better incentives. So what it will do is it will give the rest of the force, the police force, a threshold, a benchmark by which they can work towards for better and improvement in the area of performance. And the last part I would like to address is public education regarding the Transparency International report. You need a statistical division. You need to tie that statistical division with a public relations department that will come on air and educate the public on a weekly basis about what community policing is all about, what public safety is all about, and fighting corruption in the force is all about. I think if you do that, this guy who runs the Transparency International will never be able to come up with another report. But if you don't do your work from inside the organization, you leave the room for people to come in and brand you the way they want to brand you. But I think the police needs to take the rope by the... If you're saying, you rightly said, you guys are really working towards all of these things, and he's behind the scenes, kind of upper-skitting what is really a magnificent job that you've done. Well, if the public is not aware of it, if you don't put out the statistics, if you don't put out the public relations education, the public will not be able to back you. So those are the 3 points I need to ask, and I would like for you to address all 3. Thank you.
Hey, Ponder, thank you very much, man. It is a pleasing pleasure to hear from you. And I think you eloquently provided for us a platform again to actually expose where we've been. The issue with regards to the accountability side, first, let me take it back to the pen painting, and that's something I will hope that you can get the NGO fellows to come and deal with the fellows here, and so that they can exchange ideas as to how to move ahead. What we've done now, I've had meeting with, by the instruction of the Director of Police, I had a meeting with the Minister of Transport the other day. We're now coming up with a plan of action regarding how we can control the movement, how we can color code the bike and the helmet issue within. They basically are policing themselves at this point. I don't know how effective that policing done, but they agree that they're going to be policing because they have their own security setup. The effectiveness is something that is yet to be evaluated, yet to be determined, but we work with the Ministry of Transport to establish that roadmap, that precept as to how they can control them. Now, the color code, the colors and things are now on the drawing board trying to work that way. And I will hope that you can come, get your people to come and work along with them. That will go a long way. Because these things, they are more perfect in Benin than us here. But they are well organized and they're well structured, and the safety is something that that is guaranteed there. I don't know how much we can do that, but we're working besides and beyond what they have. First, I know you know about the 10 o'clock schedule curfew we have, and we're also working on the other things regarding Broad Street and other areas. And basically, that would speak to that. And I will hope and listen up for your willingness and your NGO's willingness to actually collaborate with the folks we have here. The issue with regards to where we stand as far as the my brain is going sour. The second, what was the second point again?
You talked about effective public education.
Public education was third. I was recommending actually to tie incentives to performance. Yeah. Yes,
and that is a very good approach, managerial approach, considering the service-oriented arrangement we have. That's something that we have lined up in our accountability and responsibility attempt. Because the other day, the guy who wanted to bribe him, the officer who brought out the officer's now is waiting for commendation and incentive and recommendation from the Inspector General. That is something that we're working on right now. So, but it has to, like you said, it has to be on a broader basis. It has to go to a legislative arrangement so that they understand that it's not only police officers, the people who because corruption is not just and basically I would depart from those transparency assertion that police officers the corruption has its own footing to other places because we will hope that corruption can be cured down because that's something that we are working towards alleviating in the police force. But to say that the focus is going to be barely on the police force, that perceptual situation is something that I depart from. But I would think now that people who are whistleblowers across the country can also have a place, like you said, where they can go and seek refuge and say, look, this is what happened. This person tried to bribe me. This person tried to ask for bribe. This is exactly what, this is the person's identity. This is what it is. And there should be a responsible, well-calculated response to that person's plea. That should be something that we establish. And then people should also compensate people, not only police officers, but society members who would actually carry on something like that. They should be praised. They should have reward. I'm sure at one point in time before I came in government here, there was a program where they actually send compensation for few people, some people in the police, some people in other areas. And I'm sure that system is established right now where government is actually contributing immensely to it. And the third one, you have to help me, I'm getting old here.
Public education.
Public education. Public education basically is something that what I'm doing right now. That's one thing I want to air out. I have a regular appearing basically yesterday and day before on national radio and television. I was on ERBC television a couple of days addressing issues of national concern. And now our PRO man is now actually scheduling another program that basically will speak to police problem. We'll speak to exactly what Mr. Bonner spoke about, that will accentuate where we at as an organization. The program will be styled Police Report. That's how it is going to be called. And that is going to be out there where we will explain the statistical assessment and the analysis from where we were to where we are now, and some of the pleas and some of the things we've done as an organization. And then to also take direct complaints from the citizens, because we have opened up the police to people complaining to the Professional Standard Division. Professional Standard Division is well organized, sponsored, well praised by the United Nations arrangement, and so we've opened the public to calling them. The good news is there has been some jump in people calling the police directly. That for me has reduced people's ability to take the laws in their hands. That basically has given us the chance to process their complaint, and the complaint forwarded to the disciplinary board, and then in some cases the complaint is forwarded to court. We have 2 police officers serving 15 years in jail now for their participation in this behavior. There are several police officers, 37, if my numbers not right, from last year up to now, they suspended, time indefinite. Some are fired because of police misconduct, because of complaint that came from society, because of complaint that came from the community. So it is out there. We just want to make it more elaborate because of where we stand. The second tier of our approach, our agenda, is now going to be a broader, holistic approach by the organization to actually fighting police misconduct. And so, yes, public awareness is something that has been the focus of the director of late, and basically we are going to do that, and that is basically centered in what I'm doing today.
Cora, do you have the final recommendation? 1 minute, please. And then we have a lot of people on the line. We need to condense it.
Okay, I'll be quick. I will provide my email to the moderator so we can talk about more on the issue of the PEMPAN, the motorcyclist organization. And lastly, I would recommend that you guys decentralize whatever you're doing, because Liberia is not Monrovia. So we hope you guys can decentralize your services so that you'll be able to deliver good public safety service to the entire country. Thank you.
Thank you. And
thank you very much.
Everyone that's in debaters is working on a program that is going to be open to help your organization succeed. As soon as we get that together, we will pass the information on to you to tell you how we are going to do it and what the Liberian people will be told what they need to do for them to expose corrupt police officers. So we are working on that. We are not going to give you details for now, but we hope to work with you on that issue. So, Kromah, we're going to take the next one. The next one is going to come from caller from line 6. That will be 6593. Your name and where you calling from?
I'm Eugene Sharif, calling from New Jersey. I would like to thank the Honorable for the job well done. My concern has to do with the roadworthiness of vehicles that ply the streets of Monrovia. Because a few weeks ago, I saw on the YouTube, I saw an accident on the YouTube. I think that was on Buchanan Highway. The accident was so terrible, and I think it was about 7 to 8 people lost their life from that accident. So my concern has to do with the roadworthiness of vehicles that ply the street. Is the Liberia National Police ready before the registration can be done for the vehicles? They ready going through inspection that this vehicle is ready roadworthy to ply the street? because most especially the cab model that travel from Monrovia to that of Lima and the rest of the Liberia County there. A lot of accidents have been going on there, and the accident can be very, very terrible because the vehicle can't really be up to date that would ply the streets. That's one. The second one has to do with the national police as well. Kromah, can you really tell me how much the minimum wage for the Liberia National Police, and if the minimum wage for the Liberia National Police, then what was the budget that was carved for the Liberia National Police for the fiscal year? Thank you so much.
Just before you finish your comment, Conan left the line. I guess he has to reload his line because we know that every hour they have to leave the line and come back. So we'll keep the lines open, and I hope that Conan will come on very soon. So we're going to go to, we're just going to keep the line open and hope that Conan is going to come up very soon, as I said again. And ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we are working on a program that is going to help the Liberia National Police expose deal with some of the problems of corruption. And as soon as we get that done, details will be coming to you through an email, okay? The Conan is back with us. So the Conan did not hear your entire question, so go ahead and say it again. Conan, you
Yeah, Conan, welcome back again. What I was saying is that the roadworthiness of vehicles, that ply the street, most especially the cab models that leave from Monrovia to the Liberia County. If the police really doing proper inspection on the vehicle before they can be registered, because I'm sure that all of the vehicles that fly the street in Monrovia there, they have to obtain a license plate. I don't know whether the inspection is properly done, because that accident going on the highway where it has to do with decaf models and other things, people losing their lives. So I don't know what the national police really doing as it relates to the inspection of the vehicle that ply the street. That's one. Two, the incentive, the salary structure of the Liberia National Police. Kromah, can you really tell me what was the last budget, and if that's so, then how much the Liberia National Police stand to be paid by this time? What is the minimum wage for the Liberia National Police? Because all of the callers here, I'm saying that they are saying here that the police that bribery going on, and it is because they are not well paid, and so on and so forth. So thank you.
All right. Let me start with what I have some control over, and then leave out some of those things that I do not have direct control. The issue regarding the roadworthiness of this vehicle is something that we've taken head on. Probably, if you were listening previously, you would have gotten where we were. As far as the accident on the Buchanan Highway, that was another accident on the Ralphie Highway. I'm sure that's what you're making reference to. That was one on YouTube. That accident was a result of the cars that you have the defective vehicle that I made reference to before. And there has been series of work towards what we do with regards to vehicles that are not roadworthy. And that is part of our own agenda, addressing traffic violation, addressing vehicles that should not be in the street in the first place. We put up there is now a driver education program going on in Monrovia, and we should basically take into consideration all of the vehicles that shouldn't be on the streets, that shouldn't be on the road. Some have been parked. We're taking some completely off the road. They can't be there. We have the highway patrol now patrolling the Ralphie Highway to actually, once it's getting a little late, vehicles that we know that should not be in the first place, they have been arrested, have been parked. The ones that during the regular time they're told to stay off the main highway and go to the side street if they can, if possible. But if not, they all have been arrested until they can improve the vehicle before they put them up. So those are the kind of steps that have been taken on a regular basis now to actually address the issue of these accidents. The police, basically, prior to now, we had pretty close to about, the last time I checked on any police force, we had about 8,000 and some more. We're below that now, almost 4,000, almost half of the amount we had before the war. And so that's something that we're working towards to improving. We have 600 people being graduating that are graduated almost every year now, so as to meet up with our Army drawdown numbers. Those are things that is actually going to help with regards to replacing Army, the United Nations when the days are up. And so we're working on this. The budgetary allotment, budget is a presumptuous situation that we have. As far as I'm concerned, if my numbers are right, we're probably around $15 million. I don't know whether those numbers are right, because I'm not in charge. I'm not actually focusing on the budget as far as I'm just the guy who put the guys to work and take them back to work. I wouldn't give you an exact amount as they are, but I can tell you from what I came through, it's around that number. So we and that's very little as far as where we are now as an organization. So we there, and we'll make sure we address and approach this issue from a very professional perspective.
Thank you, Colonel Kromah. Colonel, do you have a recommendation for the honorable man?
Yeah, my recommendation has to do with the dignifying the Liberia National Police, because if everywhere in the world, like even Colonel Kromah was in America here, he saw how the policing had been very, taking place here. We are not trying to currently compare Liberia with that of America, because we know America is a superpower country. But at least the little mingle resources that we are having over there, that we try to avoid some administrative corruption and other stuff like that. Because if the police is well paid, at least with the amount of 150 or 200. At least maybe that. But where you will find a policeman policemen making $100 or $110. And that's kind of pathetic in our society. So my recommendation has to do with that. I know A.B. Kromah, he's been serving a lot of positions. He was chief of staff. He's serving a lot of positions that I know of. And I know all the positions that he's been serving in. He has been making frantic effort there. He has been working exceedingly very hard, and he has been leaving a legacy that people can follow on. But what I'm trying to say again, now he is the Deputy Police Director for Operations. At least let him try to put his feet down. So at least when he leaves the police tomorrow, that people will also use him as a role model. So I thank you very much that you trying to apply all of the efforts and other things. But my recommendation that please try to talk to the power that be, so that the police can be dignified once more. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. We'll do our best. Our best is all we have.
Thank you, Colonel Kromah. Colonel Kromah, we're going to take the next one from 5158. Your name and where you calling from?
Hello. My name
Hello,
is,
how are you?
Yep. All right, my name is Cecilia Hippie. I'm calling from Atlanta.
It is good to have you on
you.
again.
Thank you. Thank you, Deputy Kromah. I'm glad that you are on this show today. Mm-hmm. I would like to know, does the police have a way that you can identify an officer in case you have a problem with an officer? Do they have a ID number, like ID number this belong to this officer? And do you have a central number that citizens can call in case they are in an emergency, or is it like, community number, or, I don't know how is it working over there. But I came across some kind of report from a citizen about the UN peacekeepers in Liberia. And those peacekeepers, they have created a climate of fear in the Liberian, with the Liberian people. And people say when a UN vehicle is on the road, all the cars have to give way, and these people, they will hit other cars and just leave. And sometimes when they get into accidents and, kill people, they will leave a note and say, you guys come to our office. And that is kind of troubling to me, because when I heard that, I thought these peacekeepers were there to help the country, but most of them are causing problems in the country. Are you aware of some of those incidents that have been happening between peacekeepers and the Liberian citizens? I would like to know that.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm stuttering because what you just said is just too diametrically, that's too wrong, too many wrongs in it. Because that's exactly what I said previously to the other fellow, that a lot of stuff you hear from Liberia will be just garbage. They have no place they have nowhere you can put them. I've always said there's no dump site for most of those things that people will be spilling out. And then it goes to people. No, my warning is don't listen to everything you hear from Liberia as far as these kind of comments. And I'm saying that with all sense of sincerity, because good people like you being misinformed by these guys who just bent on creating confusion. The UN system is one of the most structured systems here. They will not beat the queue for no reason. I'm the only man who beat queues around here because I'm operation. I'm up and down running after this. I'm doing this, doing that. If I'm running out, I'm outside the queue. But every UN officers are sitting right there waiting for that time in the line. And if there's an accident by the UN officer, they stay right there. The guy responsible for the UN will come there, and then they will investigate. They call the police officer come, investigate, and the situation is arrested by the traffic people or somebody else. That information with regards to the UN is wrong. It is false. It is fallacy. It has no iota of truth. It is misleading. I want to be emphatic with that because it speaks to the United Nations contribution we have in Liberia. They are very responsible with regards to how to handle Liberians at this point. What happened prior to my time, that's a different thing. What is happening now, what is obtaining now, is very responsible, well-calculated, very careful, very concern-driven set of people. That's the kind of people that I see. Because I work with the UN here myself. I have counterparts who are in my office 24/7. If there's any issue with regards to citizens, I will let them know. Because there's no way I will allow any other person from another country come and abuse our citizens. Not happening that way. So that is a fallacy. It is wrong. It has not a single iota of truth in it.
The other question about whether police officers have a number to be identified by common people.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, well, I have a number. My number is 44445. Yes, police officers have numbers. The numbers is across the board from the Inspector General up to the last patrolman out there. They have the numbers attached to their ID cards, and they put up there. We're in the process of changing our ID cards now to make it a little bit different than what it is right now. But if you check on any identification card from the police officer, you can see it on the ID card. And if the policeman stops you, you have a duty. You have responsibility. You have a duty to say, look, sir, can I see your badge number? Can I know your badge number? Can I see your ID number? Because I need it for my record. And the police officer is obliged. He's obliged to provide those information to you. And if he doesn't give it to you, that will be part and parcel of your reporting system. That complaint will reflect that he did not refuse to give me his sign in this area, and he refused to give me his identification. And that is subjected to a lot of discipline. That if you cannot explain yourself to the police, to the public, you got no business being a policeman. So those are all things that the Inspector General of Police has actually frowned on. And basically that's how we take it.
Do you have a quick recommendation for the honorable man today?
Well, my recommendation would be, we have heard a lot about police corruption, taking money from people. Like you said, if they can, have a place where people can go and report them, I think some of those things will reduce some of the corruption, because the people in the country, they don't have money, and with that kind of corruption, it's just unwanted. But I would like for you guys to, give the citizens or educate them in a way for them to go to a place and report these people, because if you pay them enough money, they will be able to do their job without taking bribes from people. So that would be my recommendation to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Well taken, and I will do my best to articulate it.
Kromah, we'll take the next one. The next one will come from 9084. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, good afternoon again. I'm Bob Sharif, calling from New Jersey.
Good afternoon, Baptist Sharif.
Colonel Kromah, how you doing? I'm happy to hear you on the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure. In my neck of the wood, full neck of the wood.
I know some of the things. Yeah, I know some of the things we have here to comment or to ask question on. As you said, that we shouldn't take everything into consideration, because they don't have no tangible proof of some of these things. It's true, but we that in the diaspora here, we get most of the information from on the internet and from fellows that we call from back home. And quite recently, I visited Liberia, and also I was able to experience some of the things, especially when it comes to police officers in the street. Actually, I witnessed one of it because I was a passenger on board on one taxi from Freeport to Central Monrovia on Broad Street. So when the cab driver made a right turn on Broad Street and were pulled over, and then the police officer was like, he called the driver on side, telling him to give me like $700, and I was in the back seat. And the driver came by to the car, and I was curious, and I asked him, what is he saying? He said, I should give him $700. And it's early in the morning, I don't even have that money with me. I said, for what? He said, I shouldn't have parked here, and then I parked and I drop off the passenger. So I was like, why is he requesting that money? Is there any other way that he can address the issue or ticket or something? He said, yeah, they have ticket, but normally they just ask her to give them something and then they let her go. So I was like, what? And then I opened my door and I came down. I walked up to the police officer. I said, why are you pulling the man over? He said, oh, yeah, I pulled him over because he shouldn't have stopped over there. So what is the penalty? Oh, no, it don't involve you, because perhaps he knew, actually, he recognized my presence. He knew that actually I was actually I may not be one of those from, in the environment. So he said, oh, the issue, it don't involve you. It's between police and driver. So go and sit in the car. I'm going to address it with him. So I said, well, whatever the case may be, we have to go. We have places to go. We will not sit in the car for that long. So I went and sit by in the car, and they came up with an agreement. I know about $200. The driver have to go and do it, and they let her go. So I know the corruption with the police is in the street. That is happening. I know you guys have, issue to deal, you have solution to deal with some of the problems. Again, and on the arrest of criminal, like you're addressing mob justice, why in Monrovia, a lot of people, said that they were saying that, if a criminal is arrested, especially an armed robber or suspected armed robber or criminal is arrested and then turned over to the Liberian police, if they drop the person off, like they're taking them to jail or the police cells, and after a couple of days or weeks, and the person reappear in the street. So that's why people try to take law in their own hands. So that is one issue. I don't know whether you can also address that. And when it comes to one of the callers was talking about, road working of vehicles. I have a Ghanaian friend here in New Jersey here. He buys crabs and cars and send it back home, but he have to determine which type of car to send to Ghana. So he said there are certain cars, certain years, after 10 years, Ghana is never imported into Ghana. So he buys scrap. Some of it, when you see it, you don't believe it, whether it's actually going to go in Africa. And he said he had a brother in Monrovia, and he shipped those ones in Liberia. So is there anything put or any law put in place that police can really enforce that, to really, try to validate some of these cars that are being shipped to Liberia in order to save life? So that's what I have for you.
Oh, well, I'm not into the transportation business, and so that I wouldn't. The Ministry of Transport basically would do that. One thing I know, when I had a meeting with them the other day, we talked about the right wheel driver, that the right hand vehicle that they've been importing in Liberia, that is against our vehicle and traffic law. And they've stopped accepting documentation for those, because as soon as you bring it to the port, it's not going to be allowed anymore in Liberia. And when you bring it to any point of entrance, it's not going to be allowed. That I'm aware of. The vehicle, all the defective vehicle, that's something that the Ministry of Transport has to deal with. But we are coming to the point where once we see them, we'll park them, and they're not going to ply the street. But the entry point where the Ghana fellow is important, that has to be done separately from what we do as law enforcement officers. Basically, that is for the first question was what again?
Corruption by traffic police officers, by some traffic police officers.
Yes, the corruption, the one you speak of, I think, and then one thing I like to admonish you as well, though. I don't do what we don't do in New Jersey. New Jersey, when the car pull you over, and again, first I tell you, the issue of corruption is something that we are basically going to meet head on. And one thing we must also understand that we should not be giving these police a bribe, because on our laws, those that bribe, they are as guilty as those that receive the bribe. We have the vast squad now arresting people who have been providing bribe, not to the police officer, but to government officials for doing that official job. And so you might find it pleasing to see that we'll be arresting people who will be aiding and abetting the process of bribery. And then, okay, so basically that's what it is. But we also want to admonish you that do not be in the position of trying to interfere in what policeman is doing on the street. If it doesn't concern you, the policeman will always speak to the driver. We don't do that in New Jersey, so I don't expect you guys to come from New Jersey and come and do that here. You can be rushing as you can. In New Jersey, you're on the turnpike or anywhere down in Newark. If a policeman pulls the guy that you're in, You can't even open the door to get out to come and engage the police officer. And if you can do that there, we have to start by not doing it here. Then you'll be helping the process as they are. And tell the driver friend that do not ever try to grab a police officer. If you did that before, if you do that again here, we will arrest that particular driver, and then you should not make it a duty to also interfere in police function. That is a violation of the penal code. I think it's interfering in government function, and that's something that can take you to jail.
Thank you, Colonel Kromah. And ladies and gentlemen, we apologize that we will keep taking one question at a time for now because we have 30 minutes left in this program. It's after 10 o'clock in Liberia. We all know. And the colonel has to take a nap before going back to work tomorrow morning. So we apologize that we place somebody just one question at a time, and then it can be followed by recommendations after. So, Colonel Kromah, caller, we're going to go to you for your recommendation to Colonel Kromah before we take the next one.
Yeah, I just want to thank the colonel for what actually he has done since he took over the Liberia National Police for operation. Actually, I'm not in Liberia, but I can hear and I can see what the development when it comes to the police. So it just, as he said, we are getting there. It just the little things, hitches and other things, it's going to happen in a way. But I want to commend him for a job well done. So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our next caller will be the caller Juliet. Juliet?
Yes, how you doing?
2879. Good. How are you? It's nice to hear from you again.
Yes. Colonel Kromah, thank you very much for your deliberation. I just listened to you. But I also want to state here clearly that before we go into what I want to say shortly.
Where are you calling from? Could you tell the listeners where you're calling from, please?
All right. Okay, I'm sorry. This is Julius Bantu calling from Providence, Rhode Island.
It's nice to hear from you, Julius.
Thank you. Colonel Kromah, thank you very much for your deliberations. I just want to make some correction before I will go to what I want to say. As you were saying, you said there's a lady that spoke for Atlanta and said that the UN peacekeepers are doing things out of the way in Liberia, and you said there's no iota of truth in it. I'm saying there's an iota of truth. I'm just being like I just came from Liberia 1 year ago, and I used to work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but precisely, let me just give you the location where it happened. PCS, Pinsville, between PCS in ERW Junction, I was in a car, a private car, and the UN car came from Banga. That car went and hit us in the back. All the guy did was he stopped and gave us a piece of paper that we should go to Army office and go to the vehicle department with the car lesson plate, everything to handle the case. In that case, we ran after the guys for almost 3 years. Almost 3 years. He was doing president, telling Johnson first term. I don't know if you were in the country at that time. And a lot of cases happened even after that. So those things that we are saying, people are saying here, I'm not saying everything is truth, but they are truth in all those things. I'm a living witness. All right, and what I want to say again concerning the Liberia National Police, people should also understand that they are donors agency, they are country that aid the police force, LMP, they donate to the LMP. Let me start you an instant. I used to be the administrative assistant to the Director of Passport and Visa at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs during the Julie Bryan era. And the first 300 police that went to Nigeria is the Nigerian government that gave them the invitation, 300 police, to go to Nigeria for training. And I processed those official passports, 300 police. We got the information like today. The information came from the executive mansion. My boss called me. I went back there that night, went to all the calligraphers. We processed those passports very essential. And the same the next morning, while the first 100 were going to the airport, I was going to the late Councillor James Carr office to sign those passports. And after signing them, I went to the airport to issue the passport. The next day, the first 100 batch of people went to Nigeria for the training. If you're in Liberia, you attest what I'm saying. So what I'm saying here is that there are other government, other partners, the UN agency that donate to our government, our Liberian National Police. But one of the things you guys have to take into consideration is that the people don't respect things that for government. the people take government thing and use it their own way. If you go to the Liberia National Police Office, you see a lot of cars, all right, a lot of vehicles. They will misuse those vehicles. All right, people should also understand that Liberia is a country that is struggling. And if people help us in anything, we should be appreciative. We should also handle it with care and dignity. But I want to suggest that there are things that are happening in the Liberia National Police that are not fair. All right, they take government property as something that is not important. All right, and the second thing here is the police people, they are suffering. All right, why other people, some other government officials are getting 10,000, 16,000 on a monthly basis with gas and other incentives? You have in front of police are making like $90. I have a lot of friends in the police. Even when I used to be at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and those guys work diligently. So I strongly believe that the director of police, Chris Massaquoi, I can remember the time I issued those passports, it was then Chris Massaquoi was the director of police again. I think he have to do something about that because, look, if you don't pay an individual accordingly, the issue of corruption will be hard to be eradicated. But if you pay the man to certain standards or level, this will be a threat because he knows fully well when he loses his job, he won't be able to get any other thing to be able to sustain himself. But so far, so good. I appreciate your deliberations, and I believe that you stand for change, and I pray that you will make your individual impact into our security sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, but brother, let me just tell you now, first and foremost, I appreciate your comment, and I thank for the commendation. But just point of correction, though. Director Massaquoi was not a police director during the first term of Madame Salih's presidency. He was president, he was a director during the Judy Bryan. So probably you're just missing the term. It might have happened that this incident happened, but it was before Director Massaquoi time and it was before our time. But I can tell you the dispensation we have, the established UN system we have right now, under the current commissioner we have, and the director of police we have, we have a strict protocol, and that protocol is strictly adhering to the rule of law in Liberia. Once there's an accident, you have to follow some set procedure, and that procedure is to wait for the accident investigator to come. When the investigator is here, you will go ahead through the process, and before you take your car before everybody goes. That is where we are. And then, again, basically what happened prior to our time is something that I would not speak to. I can tell you straight up. We're not going to speak to everything that we actually not responsible for. But what we can speak to now is the steps that Director Massaquoi has initiated, for which we are under obligation to carry it out and to also contribute towards. And that's something that we've asked to do. I can't picture the rest of the question right now, but I can assure you that we have our own set. We have a mindset towards making things happen. If you don't mind, give me some question.
I think you basically, Kromah, you basically answered. He was trying to say, talking about something that somebody said about police hating people and leaving the scene, and you touched that might have happened at the time you were not the Director of Operations of the Liberia National Police. So I guess you answered all of his questions and his concerns. So we're going to take the next one. The next one will come from caller 1232. Your name and where you calling from?
Yeah, my name is C. Gualofin, and I'm calling from Minnesota, Brooklyn Center. Yeah, my question. Okay. I'm trying to ask Mr. Kromah this question here. There is any reason why, concerning pimping now, there is any reason why the pimping refuse to obey the traffic rule?
Kromah,
question?
Yes, he's asking.
No, I don't see any reason. Yeah, and the pimping, I don't know what you call refusing to obey the traffic rule. These guys, I sometimes perform like that, but when they are caught, they are severely punished. They know that. So It's like any law violator. Is there any law violator? They come, they misbehave when they are caught, and the big thing you have in this country is, I beg you, sorry, it will not happen again. But they intentionally carry on this violation, and normally we arrest them. So it's not something that is spelled out that you guys are allowed to violate the traffic and the vehicle and traffic laws. But when they are caught, they are severely punished.
Kola, do you have a recommendation for the honorable man tonight?
Yes, the current saying that they are being punished for disobeying the traffic rule. I'm sorry to say this. And when moreover I think by just hello?
Sorry, that's funny. I think that's from Kromah's radio.
Okay, a few months ago, I just came from Liberia. I think this is my third month here now. The time, if you get in Monrovia, the traffic rule, they respect the traffic rule. It looks very scary. And the police there, they standing right in the center of the road, seeing the pimping garden, disobeying the traffic rule, between the cars then around in traffic, and look at the amount of people that die from pimping every year. But they're concerned about seatbelt. And look at the amount of people that get hurt from pimping. And this guy then passing through guys, and they see that they have the right car, then they should obey the traffic rule. But instead they make it wrong, And if you're trying to pull, you're trying to be so concerned about seatbelt, the car in Monrovia drives at 5 minutes and 5 miles per hour. How will you pass through the window? Even if a car hits someone, a car hits each other, you can't pass through the window. Yeah, the people they're so concerned about the seatbelt, because car drives at 70 miles per hour. So the statistics now, more people die from not wearing seatbelt. But the traffic rule in Monrovia, there the car was so slow, 5 miles per hour, even the car hit. But the pimping guys and kill people almost every 2 times a month. You see that? For example, about the police too. I was in a taxi. The police guy, he's not on duty. Not on duty, but he stopped the car. He said, the car stops.
I want to say you punish me that, come because here.
Go ahead. That problem has been taken care of.
The police car was not on duty. He stopped the car that was in. He told the car, stop, and the car stopped. He joined the car. He said, go back the car. So he tried to request money from the driver. While we saying now, then another police lady came. This lady, she was not in the uniform. He called the police car in. So soon as the police guy saw her, he get out from the car. So the police guy, the lady told us in the car that this guy on duty, but yesterday he trying to harass people. I said, so what y'all do about it? He said, we put him in prison, but still, yesterday they still pursue it. So one of the advice I give, look, we from here, people from the diaspora, if you enter Monrovia, you don't need to go eyes people, there is security, there is safety in this country. No, the traffic alone can give you message that, hey, the security system here is low, no safety in this country, just for the traffic. The pimping garden, they just between car. You can be so scared in a way that even in the taxis, they're scared for the people that are on pimping. And people dying every day. So these are some of the things that there is no who can identify who on duty, the police are on duty, or who are on duty. For example, the lady was saying, and the guy get away with that little saying they gave him. That's my recommendation. So what I wanted to say here, if they can take the police, the pimping garden from the whole main road, from Broad Street to Raider, from Raider, passing straight all the way, Panamville to Freeport, that main road, if they can keep pimping out, let it run places that sink off. If you get down to go to work, you need to get there soon. People say the traffic is so heavy in Monrovia, you can't get on time. But every appointment I'm making in Monrovia, I was on time. Look at this traffic system. I was still going on time. No matter, I can this 2 hours here will be not traffic and I reach on time. But the man will say, would I be here about 2? You go there, you will wait for them like 1 hour. You see? So if the pimping can run all the corner, then they can put you on the main road, you get it right to take car and go. But the pimping make the traffic very, very slow in our country. And it's hurting people, killing people every day. It should be our main concern concerning the traffic rule. Thank you.
Thank you. Kromah, that's the recommendation from the brother. Ladies and gentlemen, we have close to our time here, so please condense your question. That's the only way we can take everyone. We have a lot of people on the line. Most likely, we are not going to take everyone tonight. But Kromah, that was the recommendation from the brother, so you take that and then see whether you can work and deal with his recommendation. You can maybe do something towards about that, towards it. Kromah, we'll take the next one. The next one will come from 0853. Your name and where you calling from?
All right, thank you, Mr. Moderator. I know you tried to punish me today for no reason, but I've been listening keenly. Hello, my chief. Hello, chief.
Hello, boss. How are you doing?
Oh, man, how you know I get? That's my chief. My chief. Kromah, I listened to all the eloquent speeches you made and everything operational you already said, and I can see that in you. I see a lot of energy, and I see that your flesh your spirit is really willing, and I hope you can do the best you do. And almost everyone I listen to have really given you a lot of praises and things. And I need to praise you because you're much cheap, but it means I can give you all the praises because I can one or two things. I think you touched on one or two issues that won't say me to not be my chief in my comrade. I got a little issue with. I know you have that corrected. You're being a little defensive of the police, when it comes to the police integrity. But I know the kind of country we find ourselves in. But one thing you one guy who was talking was that, and Hamad said, I knew that you were going to say something about was that. He said, I got outside from the car and went to talk to the police officer why he arrested. I knew you were going to say something, but then you didn't say the other thing I wanted to hear from you. The police officer is not supposed to ask the driver to get out of the car. That creates suspicion. Because the police officer asked the driver out of the car, that created suspicion on that guy who got out of the car. Because in New Jersey here, he's not going to get out of the car if you're a passenger because the officer know, and you know that you're not supposed to get out of the car. So I just thought I would open a correction. And also we'll be having a real controversial issue over here that has to do with the mirror, and you touched on that a little bit. You say, people buy $2 phone call when they call Liberia. They want to hear anything here that what they want to take. In America, what we see on the television, what we hear on the internet, what we hear on teleconferences, are those things that come from the minds of people who got a personal interest. So how do we draw our conclusions from the kind of information that we gather? But for you, a man, and my chief who is out there to dispense justice, I didn't in no way think that you have tried to, in any way, defend Mirabel action because you're already in Monrovia and your police are already around her when she obstructed justice from one of the highest levels, one of the 3 branches of government. And you live in New Jersey as chief. You know when it comes to obstruction of justice. You know what can happen. And also hear you saying, I like those police officers that can go, I like those drivers that can go attack my police officer because I will punish them, even though I know they still go through the due process of law. So I was just like, I don't even want to go down to the issue of saying people say Mirabel did this and they don't have evidence. I think for a public outcry, we know. If somebody can be a mayor and they call you a general, that's not just sufficient to tell people, especially in Africa, what goes through your mind? You are saying Mirabel, they call you a general. And everything kind of a compromise you have on Mirabel over there. I don't think a lawmaker lied. I don't think the sergeant was saying obstructing for his justice. A very police officer was right there. You knew about it, so tell me, those are just little striking issues, And another little key thing I want to touch on before I can let you go because I know you're tired now. You just said you're already Uber. I said you want to retire, then you say no. Don't retire now. You keep saying now, but you're not retiring right now, man. That's why you left from New Jersey for. I want you to look at a little issue that is very important and striking to me because when you are at work over there, There's no secret about what we do because we work for the public. I experienced what I'm going to talk to you about, and it's still happening right now. You have to talk to your senior officers at the Liberia National Police to stop obstructing justice. The very police officers, our senior officers, do obstruct justice. What do I mean, Kromah? Or how you call it, a private or a sergeant will pull a cap over. It can be good for some legitimate reason. But most truck drivers, especially let's forget about cap, most big truck drivers in Monrovia cap numbers for senior police officers. That's what established fight, Chief. Don't even try to argue me because I will bring you the fight. If you want me to produce it online or produce for you, my chief, I will do that. They will call that chief and that chief will tell the police officer, the subordinate officer, let him go. Let him go. I was in Morocco the other day. I don't want to make cases issue or personal. Keep it two different instances. But if I will have to put my family on the line, let me do that, chief. This guy, I know him personally. He a no-nonsense police officer. He works in Habib. And he pulled this guy over, the truck over, and some senior officer called him to let the man go. He said, but chief, watch, why did the man go when the man followed the rule? Do you know that he got locked up because the chief said he disobeyed his order? Who is that chief to intervene when you should sit in the office and do your job and let the police officer effect arrest and send the man to court? But you pick up phone and call somebody and let the man go. What if that man had a terrorist in the car? That's a common practice in Monrovia. I'm telling you from experience, a police officer, and not be a police officer right now on AWOL, but being in Monrovia, I saw that vividly. I hope you can take care of that, chief. And I want to congratulate you also, not too much now, because you got a lot more to do. You got all the trucks that running with one license thing on TV Highway, and no police officer taking bribing and let the truck go. Chief, one day go, chief, I know you're strong, man. You got all that letter you want to grant you that with a manager. So look, I don't do that. But can you just please, after the discussion, drive on my TV Highway one day, from the road from Monrovia to Kakata, and just sit over there and watch your trucks that come in with one light and see where we pack our police officers to say that you're not going until tomorrow because the rules are bad. They will let them pass the checkpoint. If you want to prove it wrong, chief, do research and get back on the show because I know you like your talk about brain point. That's very good of you. So just conduct that research, go on one leg as an operational chief, sit on Monrovia or Kakata Highway and see how many trucks with one light will go and the police officer will let them cross. That's just a serious public hazard. And look, you don't want no kind of fancy or political talk about it. That's how our people are dying, chief. That's how our people are dying. Trucks go one light, and the middle car go to see that, look, he's driving, or there's a motorcycle coming. I had a personal experience.
Could you condense the question, sir? Thank you.
You can condense it for me now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Go ahead,
Kromah. Yes, sir. Thank you. With regards to, let me go, you said a lot of things. And then let me go down to the one where you said, you're correcting me when I said that a guy left the car and
Kromah, your phone is very low right now. Can you speak louder a little bit, Connor? I know we know it's late and we got a few minutes in the program, sir.
Yeah, let me speak to the first question where he attempted to correct me. That has to do with the police officer leaving the asking the guy to get out the car and then follow him that through suspicion. And that should be the justification for the guy to come and interfere in whatever the police officer was doing. I don't condone police officer trying to create the room for corruption. And like you said, you know that fighting these things is something that's my lifetime goal with regards to police misconduct. I have done that from the time I became a supervisor and up to this point. So and there's no reason why anybody coming from New Jersey will be leaving the car to come and interfere in anything when in fact that is not how it is done in New Jersey. That was the point I was trying to make. Because I work for the state of New Jersey. I live in New Jersey. And I know the system as it is in New Jersey and in New York and in Philadelphia and in Boston. So nobody from New Jersey will come and lecture me as to how it should be done and regarding people interfering in police work. And regarding Mirror Broad situation that happened, I wanted to find out where was the police officer who was there when in fact Maribor obstructed justice. I wanted to see Maribor on the court. There were no police officer. The legislature will see that they attempted to invite the Minister of Justice when she was not there. The Minister of Justice and myself we were in this place in Nima County on the Confidence Building for the HOP system in Banga. We were all in occupied when this whole fracas happened at the Bolivar Center prison. The sergeant arm went there to carry this lady to jail, the superintendent of Mosquito County, and Maribor had her interaction with them, and that was what it was. There were no police officers say, well, you know what, this happened, this shouldn't happen. As far as I'm concerned, and that was not brought to my attention, and so it was a non-issue as far as I'm concerned. As far as I'm concerned, it was a non-issue because that didn't come up. Nobody charged any police officer for standing by for not providing any help. As far as I'm concerned, Maribor was the one that was charged for obstructing, and she went through the process as it was. And so basically that's what it is. And then regarding the cars, the defective cars, I don't know whether you were listening prior, we have we said, and I repeat them, maybe this will be my fifth time repeating, that we have procedures now. We have the highway patrol on that route, arresting cars that are not roadworthy, and to actually bring them to book. That's something we're working on. We just had a very nasty accident the other day where 2 persons died on that particular highway, and that has claimed the attention of the authority as well, again. And so we're working on using our meager resources to actually address those kind of issues as they are. So, I mean, your ability to be very selected and castigating is very well founded. I agree, and I take it with pleasure because that's what we should do. You should critique us, even though sometimes the criticism is a little misdirected, but it is very worthy for you to put it out because it's good that you say to us so we can be reminded because sometimes our heads get bigger if we are not reminded on what their perception is, so we can always have a reflective, introspective analysis and assessment of what you think. So it's good. It's all good. We live with it, and we will continue to be guided by your perception and the views on these things. We're not perfect, and we have not posted ourselves as being perfect. The police force is going through transformation. We have an agenda, and that agenda is going to be worked. And there are a lot that people have said, there's a lot that people are doing, and people are putting up, which is true. We are going to make those corrections. Corrections are something that it has to be done through a painstaking process. So that's all I would say.
Koda, we would like to give you a minute for any recommendations for Colonel Kromah tonight, because we have a lot of people and we have a few minutes left in the program before we take it.
Just to give a lot of people for the benefit of the talk. I mean, I'm fine.
Thank you for being part of this show again. Colonel Kromah, we're going to take the next one. The next one will come from 6105. Your name and where you're calling from.
Oh, my name is Anthony. Let me just begin by giving you thanks, the moderator, for the program.
It's wonderful to have you on too.
Thank you. I know the duty of a law enforcement officer is to enforce the law, wherein the law does seem to be accordingly. You may find it very difficult to enforce. I'm saying this because my last visit to Liberia, I forgot the name of the street. But I know it's around Watersound, McDonough. But there's a street crossing down McDonough. And on that street you have a wrong way sign. And the wrong way sign is improperly placed. You enter in the street before you know that you are on the wrong way sign. Normally, I know, Honorable Kromah, you live in Jersey, and you know exactly where those signs should be placed. Probably may not be part of those that plan those 10 cities. But I just think that if a farmer is in the midst of the wrong way sign that I never saw, and maybe you want to enforce that law, it becomes very, very difficult. I don't know whether you have seen some of the things saying you took over. That's the first question. The second one would be the crime.
Would it be possible for the corner to just take one place? Oh. You can give her two, but then he will have to pick one because we have other people.
The meeting I wanted to talk about was the armed robbery that really going on, and I think these are the issue really for me. I'm very much concerned about because when I get to Liberia, I want to be really free, and we see armed robber being arrested and then later they are released. I mean that's merely around the red light where you're driving your car and somebody just put a hand in the front seat and accept you got AC and take yourself, all those kind of things. You know, I wanted to ask the honorable how many people were arrested doing that and how the persecution went on and how many do they even have in here as we speak. But same because you called me for time, maybe I will just limit it there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, because time is fast spent right now. I have not done my daily prayer, my last prayer yet. What basically I want to speak to is the issue of armed robbery and people. Somebody asked that question today, but I didn't pick up on it when I was responding, and said that was the reason why people carry mob action because they see people being arrested and be released out there. Now, like I said, and I told my students several times with regards to the three components of the criminal justice system, the police just one part of the puzzle. And the police the primary role of the police is to investigate, and introduce the people in the criminal justice system. Where there is probable cause, you are arrested. Where there is prima facie, you are sent to court, and you are judged by the court. And when the court finds you guilty, they send you to the corrections department, and you are rehabilitated and you serve your term. That's the criminal justice system. And there's another one called the juvenile justice system, which is an addition. At the end of the day, when you pass through that process, when you pass through that simple arrest, judge, and correction, when you pass through the arrest and you are introducing the judicial system, the role of the police starts right there. Now, whatever happened in the court system, and then to the correction system, and you're out on the street, it becomes now another process. You pass through the process. Most of the time, I can tell you straight up, free of charge, that the justice system, the courts, we have the courts are overcrowded, the doctors are overcrowded, the correction department, the Moral Center prison is also crowded to a large extent. So they have series of problems. But as far as the police work are concerned, police arresting, we arrest, we send to court. Now, if you go to court and you come back and become a recidivist, all we do, we arrest you. We just have people breaking jail the other day. We've had a lot of jailbreaks, and we've arrested almost 80%, in some cases 90% of those people back into the justice system. That is our role. That is our statutory responsibility. Now, if you go through the process, and we try our best to educate the public, that is not our fault. And when these guys are out, and they basically will arrest them all over again. So I want that to be clear, that we're not in the business of taking people and going to the police station and releasing them. No, they are sent to court because we have statistics. We have people monitoring the arrest and the disposition of those cases. That is there. Under this administration, that's what is going on. So to see that those people are out on the street, we have to take our investigation in different other areas. Now, regarding the brothers' crimes, as far as the whole system is concerned, that system is something that we have pressed, and the director actually has given his own support to it.
Thank you, Colonel Kromah. Colonel Kromah, we're going to take the last one. Those of you did not have the time to have a chat with Colonel Kromah, give a recommendation, talk to Colonel Kromah or recommendations. We hope that you forgive us. It's just for the fact that we have 165 callers on the line. So with that, we cannot take everyone. So, Kromah, we're going to take the last one. This is going to come from caller 7845. Your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, hello?
Yes. How are you?
Okay, thank you. My name is Bakaba. I'm calling from the state of Pennsylvania. To be precise, I'm calling from Philadelphia.
It's a pleasure to have you on.
All right, thank you very much. You know, I'm someone who worked in the law enforcement department before in Liberia, but I don't want to call a specific agency that I work for. Yeah, listening to the program, this is my very first time to enter this program. A friend of mine in New York, he's the one who gave me this number, and I decided to enter today to try to, give my own input. First of all, the way I'm looking at the dimension, I know what is law enforcement. I've been in the circle before. So looking at the dimensions of the debate, I don't think, for me, I don't think it's going proper because the first thing, I'm seeing the deputy director of police for operation, it's kind of a little bit defensive. Like, for me, I think that the proper way should be, he should listen more and take in the concerns of the people and take down notes because that's what the Liberian people think, and that's the reality. So the second thing is that the people should ask questions that really in the confines of the work of the deputy director of police operation. Like a police officer misbehaving in the street, that's even far away from the deputy director of police operation work. Every police officer are assigned. There's a division of labor within the Liberia National Police. I can't come to all that now. But I'm glad that I entered today that next time that when we have the chance, like you said, there are a bunch of people online, and if we have the chance next time, then we can go into this thing detail and try to resolve it in a better way that, because our aims and objective in the whole process is that our country should move forward because there's a genuine security system. It's beneficial to the security and it's beneficial to everybody because if the police build a community policing, which the interaction between the public and the police is cordial, then the law enforcement becomes very interesting. But if there's no cordial understanding between the community and the Liberia National Police, which of course I know that's the situation in Liberia, then it becomes a problem, like the Maribor issue right now. Maribor is an outlaw. What's going to happen to Maribor anyway? So that's a political situation. It can't even handle that. So the next thing is that like a police officer, single traffic police officer or whatever, that people are talking about traffic right now that has something to tantamount to the national security something, I think that's far different from one another. I do agree that in every security arena, even in the United States of America here, in every security arena, there's irresponsible people within the system that doesn't want to respect the rules of law that do a lot of things. Even when I was in Liberia, while I'm working with the law enforcement, sometimes we're in the bus or in the taxi, when the police people misbehave in the street, the police officer look at somebody, you're wrong, this way is right. I said, but who are you to determine somebody is wrong or right? Police can only have reason to hold somebody. It is the court, before court of competent jurisdiction, that somebody is found guilty or not. So these things should be taught within the Liberia National Police. So my question tonight is this point, though. I want to know from the Deputy Director of Liberia National Police, which is Mr. Kromah, when he, prior to taking of the office, when he took this office, what was the worst problem within the police that he identified? What were the problems that he identified that, if it's one or two problems, I'm not saying all the problems, because I know there's a huge, because this thing, I know about it. I'm talking from experience, So what was the problem what was the challenges when he took that office? And what has he done? Yeah, I got three questions. What has he done since he being in office up to present? And what he thinks is the way forward?
Kromah, you can just go ahead and then after you answer the questions, go ahead and give your closing statement, sir.
Well, first and foremost, the brother didn't call his name, and I know. No, I call my name. My name is Bakaba Mkwane. Okay, Mr. Conan.
Yeah.
Basically, he said I've been defensive. I disagree, but that's your perception. What I've tried to do, I try to do.
That's the same thing. You always disagree with me.
No, it's not because I disagree with you. It doesn't mean I'm defensive. What I'm basically saying, I'm asked questions, the people give me recommendations, and I'm jotting them down. I'm putting everything in my computer right now as we speak. But if you ask a question and I think it is far from the truth, I gave you the correction from where it is, and I gave you my own disposition, my own vision of what your perceptions will be, because you are not here. You're taking the information from the third party, from second tier and third parties, and sometimes, in some cases, fourth party. So I am under obligation to be truthful, to be candid as to what your views were. So that, for me, it is not being defensive. It's been truthful. It's helping to provide some information to you. That is where it is. Maybe we have different definition of being defensive, and because people have the tendency of creating these kind of perception of people's understanding, and then it has negative connotation. I don't know how long you listen to the program, but everything I said here in this program was to provide information in places where I think there's a need for correction. When somebody said, in my own view, that the UN was doing this and doing that, I disagree, because that's not when I was there. I just came from the States.
We just lost Kromah. I guess he has to come back to give his closing statement, because he didn't get to touch that. But ladies and gentlemen, we would like to tell those of you that called yesterday that we got a message. We got a call from Information Minister today, Louis Brown, extending his apology to every one of us for not being able to come on yesterday. That was due to the fact that he has gone to a program, a government sort of program called A Star is Born, and he mistakenly he turned on his phone, and he forgot to turn his phone on back on for us to give him a reminder call about his appearance on our program yesterday. And he called to tell us that he's open to come back on the show anytime we want to bring him on. So we're going to wait for Kromah to come back for him to give his closing statement, and then we will call you quick tonight and come back next week. We have a lot of people coming on next week, probably Mayor Bro and Information Minister or Speaker of the House, Alice Tato. So please look out for that text message sometime before Saturday. So as I said, we're going to wait for Kromah. If he doesn't come on, maybe he's completely out of time now. If he doesn't come on, and then we'll just call it quick. But let's give him a few minutes to do so. And with that, we're going to go back to Aaron Kennedy will stay in line. He didn't get to give his recommendation, but Aaron Kennedy, go ahead. That's not Anthony Kennedy, sorry. Anthony Kennedy.
Yeah,
Anthony, are you talking about Anthony Zizis, I'm sorry. Anthony Zizis.
I was surprised that you didn't allow me to give my recommendation. But the recommendation I wanted to give
Kromah is back, so let's go to the corner. Sorry for that. I will come back to you before the corner leaves out. Go ahead, Corner.
Basically what I was saying to the brother was that maybe we have a different definition, and the connotation probably will be different. It will vary. But everybody can attest that we just begin a candid and acceptance of people's perception and making corrections to where they are deserved, and then we'll move on. And I understand there is the tendency of people characterizing some negativity on certain things to suit their own perception. I like perception. Perception is the very subjective assessment and analysis of what other people think or what you think of other people. I've learned to live with that all of my career, and even my student life and my little community life we did in New Jersey. So basically that's different. But as far as what we say here and what we're doing, this is a very good thing. This is exchanging ideas for the improvement of our country, as somebody said. It is good. It is good. It is healthy for me. As an administrator, it's healthy for you because you're getting information, and you can always collate this information. You can always put them through some tests so that you can come to some reality. What we're saying here, check it out through some other means that will authenticate our dispositions, but not to say that we... Being defensive, again, is something that I think was a little harsh, but we take it for what it was. But on the general assessment of it, ladies and gentlemen, I can say to you that your country is in a better upward trajectory, irrespective of all of the analysis we gather. There are problems here. There are logistical problems that is being addressed. There are other social problems that work is being done upon. We've just come from a devastating civil crisis. I can see that, and that is reflected in how things are done right now. Gradually, we are gravitating towards a stable, a very upward arrangement in our country, and that is reflected in the level of policing that we have. We now, again, as I said, people are now leaving from these mob action to reporting their issues to the police and following the rule of law because the access to justice has been improved. And so we are moving forward. Liberia is getting better. There's some hardship. People are still working through the poverty line at improvement. You can see that. That's not my area. My area is to make sure that Liberia is safe, and that is something that I've spent my lifetime doing. From age 18 up to now, I've been in law enforcement. Director Massacre, a very trained professional police officer who's a Fulbright scholar and who also is a lawyer. And Rostak is also another very well-achieved person. So we're all doing our best to see we can contribute towards where we are right now and how we can take this country to where it is. The guy said, what were my challenges? When I came in the police force, you had crime rate was very high. You had a very high crime rate. You have to produce strategies, recommended strategies, and those strategies work. Crime rate has dropped. And now the next phase of our strategy is to bring about accountability and responsibility with police misconduct a focus. That is what we're doing right now. What do I hope to see? I hope to see a vibrant, well-suited police force in the future where the people will become safe, where we reduce the fear of crime, where the response to crime will be very much short so that people can now sleep as they are beginning to sleep now, sound in a well-suited country. That's what I thought, that's what I work with, that's what I hope to see in the near future. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who joined us late, we have come to the end of this program. Colonel Kromah was our guest. The Honorable Abraham S. Kromah, Deputy Director for Operations of the Liberia National Police, and he was joining us from the Republic of Liberia today. It was epic and informative, Colonel Kromah, having you on tonight, and we wish you good luck in your endeavor. Good night to you all again.
And good night. And to my kids that are listening now in New Jersey, good night, guys. Continue to fast, and bye.
Thank you for having me on tonight. Bye-bye. Good night to you all.
Bye-bye.